Fires too strong, and Ashton the board. Clark 1 for corner, the early go. Fires too strong, and Ashton.
Caitlin Clark misses a shot. Just a miss. The kind of miss that happens to every single player in this league, every single night, multiple times a game, no matter how good they are. And before the ball even hits the floor, before she's even had a chance to get back and set up on defense, Stephanie White is already waving her toward the bench.
Caitlin Clark can be as great as anybody. She can be Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. She can be anybody. As long as she got Hayona over there as a coach, Mr. Crab's daughter over there as a coach, and as long as she got that ball hog on her team that's messing up the whole team chemistry, we gonna keep losing. And we not winning the championship. So as long as that coach is over there, and as long as that ball hog keep doing the same thing she doing, Indiana Fever fans, Caitlin fans, y'all may as well get championships out of y'all heads. It's not happening. Listen, if Stephanie White keeps doing that gimmick she has going on over there, being weird, we are not winning anything. We'll be lucky to make it out of the first round.
Not a timeout. Not a dead ball. Not a natural stoppage where a coach quietly makes a rotation call late in a quarter, the way coaches routinely do. This was immediate. A miss, followed by a hook, followed by Caitlin Clark walking straight to the sideline while the New York Liberty kept right on playing, without so much as a pause in the action. Fever fans watching noticed it instantly, because this has stopped looking like a one-off decision and started looking like an actual pattern, one that's now happened in back-to-back games against two very different opponents. There's a tweet circulating right now that puts into words exactly what a lot of people watching felt in real time. It reads, "The Indiana Fever have somehow managed to turn Caitlin Clark into a role."
The bozo bonehead, man. Get Caitlin Clark the hell away from this clown-ass organization. We gotta get into this game, man. Y'all know Caitlin Clark played small forward for the entire first half of the game, all the way until about 4 minutes left in the third quarter when the Indiana Fever were down by 9. The girl was playing small forward. Aaliyah Boston brought the ball up the whole first 3.5 quarters. This is ridiculous. This is malpractice. Stephanie White should be fired immediately.
Player. 2 assists in the first half. And it's not because she suddenly forgot how to create. The ball has been taken out of her hands for the second game in a row. Too many possessions have Clark standing off ball or parked in the corner while Indiana tries to manufacture offense elsewhere.
Why?
I'm not going to pretend I know the reasoning, but I know this. This team is not better with Caitlin Clark watching the offense instead of running it. You have one of the most dangerous playmakers in basketball.
Put the ball in her hands.
This shouldn't be complicated. If you actually watch where Clark is standing when Indiana runs its half-court sets, she isn't at the top of the key initiating. She isn't bringing the ball up the floor and reading the defense the way she is all season, the way that's made her a nightmare matchup for every team on this schedule.
Check out the best player in the league, but it sucks that she got a stupid coach and a ball hogging teammate.
Indiana looking for their first lead. Clark behind the
picking them apart.
This is
Threes.
a long 2.
Picking them apart. It's too easy. It's too easy. Look, breaking them down. But her coach, Word Waldo, Cur's the cowardly dog. Like, what are we talking about? Hey Arnold sitting over there. Like she's pathetic, man. We need a new coach. Or Caitlin needs to go. This is pathetic. She is putting on MVP caliber play, but she got teammates that wants to hold the ball like they Michael Jeffrey Jordan or somebody. Like, this is nasty. She's setting people up, getting people open, all type of stuff. Busting.
She's parked in the corner. She's standing off ball, arms loose, watching somebody else try to create something out of nothing, while the single most dangerous playmaker on this roster just waits around for a catch-and-shoot look that may or may not ever come her way. That's not a system adjustment. That's a talented player getting benched inside her own offense, while still technically standing on the floor in uniform. Let's rewind 2 games, because none of this actually started against the Liberty. 2 nights earlier, The Fever were in Dallas taking on the Wings, and Clark had one of the rougher shooting nights of her entire season for 15 from the field, a cold, frustrating stretch by any measure. She still racked up assists in that game, still found teammates when the opportunity was there. But her overall role in the offense had already started shrinking well before the final buzzer sounded. Indiana lost that game 91-85. And in that same game, Kelsey Mitchell had to completely take over, dropping 37 points and setting a new league record for consecutive 20-point performances in a single season.
Like I said, overall, I thought she played pretty well, especially considering the circumstances. This was nifty. Right over the big on the inside. Not to mention, she had a nice step-back three at one point in the game early. She got her shot going as the game went along because she didn't shoot the ball well to start it and then wound up shooting the ball much better. But this was a nice, nifty step-back. Cash. Kelsey also went over 20 points again. That's routine at this point. Here doing it with a boogie move on Jonquel Jones. Woo! Got right by her.
Now, 37 points from Kelsey Mitchell is a genuinely incredible individual performance on its own, and nobody watching this is trying to take anything away from her. She's been sensational for stretches of this entire season, and she absolutely deserves credit for elevating her game when her team needed her most. But there's a real, meaningful difference between Mitchell getting hot organically inside a normal, flowing team offense and Mitchell getting the ball 40 times a night specifically because the point guard who's supposed to be running the entire show has been quietly nudged out of her natural role. When Caitlin Clark isn't initiating possession,
Sometimes you gotta let them go do things that you're going, that's not a real good idea right now. Guys. Because if you start to harness greatness, then they start to second guess what you want them to do.
And this is the difference from a real, actual great coach and then Stephanie White. Stephanie White has this thing. This is why I say she got all of the characteristics of a narcissist. Because Stephanie White wants to control, micromanage every single thing. And it was a clip going around when Caitlin played Toronto, I believe. It was that game. And she crossed the girl up real bad. The girl went way, she started guarding her own teammate somewhere. And everybody was like, why didn't Caitlin take the three? And she was wide open. It goes back to that second guessing that Cheryl just talked about. Because every time Caitlin does something, who do you see in her ear on the sideline? Who do you see chasing her down trying to say something? Who do you see always on the sideline emoting, doing some type of weird stuff? Stephanie White. And I keep telling y'all, Stephanie White has been the problem.
the way she's built too, the offense doesn't just lose a score. It loses its rhythm, its pace, its ability to create advantages before the defense even finishes setting up in the half court. That's exactly what's happened over these last two games. And it shows up in the box score every single time. This also isn't the first time Stephanie White has made a questionable in-game decision involving Clark's role on this team. Back in May, against the Portland Fire, White pulled Clark early in the first quarter of a game that was still very much winnable at that point. Indiana went on to lose that game by 16 points.
Like, look at this. Look, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. Look, Caitlin wide open, clank, pathetic. Well, let's watch it again one more time. Look, Caitlin's wide open, nobody's on her. Look, this is pathetic. Yes, a rant is coming. Who does we have as a coach? Where is our coach? Because apparently she missing. This is pathetic. This is probably the worst job I've ever seen a coach do. And then let's just listen. When the fans booed her, why did y'all stop? She literally deserved that. Y'all literally should start booing again. Why are you hating on Caitlin Clark? How you hating on the best player on the team and anybody else can do something, you fine with it. Caitlin do something, you all over throwing a hissy fit like a toddler. Like
a result that looked a whole lot worse once you consider the timing of that substitution. White explained afterward that it was about managing Clark's workload given her ongoing back concerns and taken completely on its own. That's a fair explanation for a coach to give. Nobody wants to watch a young superstar get pushed through actual pain chasing a single regular season win in the middle of May. But when you start stacking these decisions up, one after another, across an entire season, a pattern begins forming that gets a lot harder to explain away using injury caution alone, especially during stretches where Clark looks completely healthy on the floor. And that's exactly the tension fueling this conversation right now, because the numbers from this specific stretch don't line up cleanly with the workload management story. Against the Liberty, Clark logged real minutes. She wasn't sitting out entire
consistency, right, for us. I thought that there were some moments, where we made them uncomfortable. Not enough. When we were up into the ball pressure, and I thought we got some really good things on the defensive end. And then there were lapses that caused fouls, and the free throws, lapses that allowed offensive rebounds, lapses that allowed, soft switches into cuts. Lapses on the offensive end where we didn't do the ball, we didn't find the right play, didn't find the right pass. You think if you shoot 51%, 42% for the three, and you make your free throws, but more than anything, I think this is just an opportunity for us to keep learning, how much of a sense of urgency you have to play with every single possession. This is playoff basketball right now. Playoff basketball, and there has to be an urgency.
Their quarters, wasn't getting a night off, wasn't being held to some kind of restricted schedule the way a team manages a player working back from injury. She was on the floor in uniform, healthy enough to play, just not being used the way she's been used for most of the season. That distinction matters, because it's the difference between a coach protecting a body and a coach making a basketball decision about who touches the ball and when. One of those explanations disappears the moment a player is clearly moving fine, cutting fine, closing out possessions with the same burst she's shown all year. And by every account from people actually watching the tape, that's exactly what Clark looked like against New York. Not compromised, not laboring, just quietly repositioned. That's what makes the silence from the coaching staff so noticeable. When a star player's role visibly shrinks 2 games running, reporters ask about it. And the answers so far have stayed vague. General talk about getting everyone involved, about trusting the group, the kind of language that sounds like it's explaining something without actually explaining anything. It's the same category of non-answer that shows up whenever an organization would rather ride out a news cycle than address the specific question being asked. Fans have picked up on that gap immediately because it's the same gap that showed up after the Portland game back in May, an explanation offered after the fact that never quite matches what the tape shows in the moment. None of this means Stephanie White is doing something wrong on purpose, and it would be unfair to jump straight to that conclusion off 2 games. Coaches make rotation decisions constantly, and not every one of them needs to be treated as evidence of a deeper story. Sometimes a player really is just working through a cold stretch, and a coach really is just trying different combinations to find something that clicks. That's a normal part of an 82-game grind, even for a star. But normal adjustments usually come with a normal explanation. And what fans are reacting to here isn't just that Clark's role shrank. It's that nobody in the organization has stepped up to clearly say why, while the box score keeps quietly telling its own version of the story. 2 assists and a half. Long stretches standing in the corner. A go-to scorer getting the bulk of the possessions instead of the point guard built to create them in the first place. Whatever the reasoning is behind closed doors, the version of Indiana's offense showing up on the floor right now doesn't look like the one that made this team must-watch television for most of the year. And until that changes, or until someone actually explains why it's changed, this story isn't going anywhere.
Ridiculous. Caitlin Clark forced the jack-up shots in the first 5 seconds of the shot clock because she knows, God forbid, if she passes the ball to anybody, it's impossible for her to get the ball back at any point in a given possession. It's ridiculous. Bro, Stephanie White played Aaliyah Boston at point guard for 3.5 quarters. I'm ready to lose my mind, bro. We got the best point guard in the league. Why is our center playing point guard? Meanwhile, Jonquel Jones was punishing her ass the whole first half. This is crazy, man. This is crazy, bro. Like, Kelsey Mitchell kept her streak going. That's all that matters around here, right? Kelsey Mitchell gets her streak. Yeah, that's all that matters. Indiana Fever lose again. Coaching blunder. This was ridiculous, man. Caitlin